Jai Guruji. Today is day 7 of our Satsang sharing, and let me again start with saying how amazing this experience has been so far. I can say for myself, I have never got tired of repeating the blessings. Never. And every time I say it, it looks fresh as if it has happened only the other day. For the first time, I got an invitation from a Sangat from Hoshiarpur in Punjab to attend their wedding. The tradition was that everyone, whenever there was a function in the family, particularly marriage of the children, they would first come to Guruji and present the first invitation to Maharaj and some more, which Maharaj on his own discretion will distribute amongst the Sangha. And it took a while before I got my turn, and I received one and decided that I'm going to travel to Punjab. Amazing experience is not the word. The excitement that I'm a Sangat and I will be representing Maharaj in a function was very exciting. Since I was going via Jalandhar, I also thought that I'm going to visit Jalandhar Mandir, which is where Maharaj uh, had his mandir the very first time. And Jalandhar Mandir continues to be a very important milestone or a place to visit for Gurujis Sangat. So I planned it that way that I'm going to go to wedding. On my way back, I will visit Mandir, stay there for the night in the vicinity, and return the next day. Although card must have been given to many, but when I reached, I was the first one from the Sangat to be there. And to my surprise, when Sangat looked at me, when the the people there looked at me and they knew I'm from Delhi, I have been sent by Maharaj. Then instead of welcoming me, they start saying, Guruji has come, Guruji has come. And I actually looked around to see if Maharaj actually has come here. And I have not noticed. But they hugged me, they welcomed me, and they treated me like a royalty. Everything was first offered to me. The kind of welcome I received, I wouldn't welcome myself like this ever, let alone anybody else. But then it dawned on me that I'm Guru Sangat and I'm representing my Guru in this function. And being alone there gave me that sense of responsibility even more. After a while, I saw one more Sangat from Delhi, Shiv Uncle, not the Shiv Uncle that you hear these days, but Shiv Uncle from Delhi, a close friend from Sangat, also came there with his daughter. And now, just Shiv Uncle and me, and the Sangat there surrounding us, and forget about everything else. We started sharing our satsangs, and it was all about Guruji, and everybody forgot about everything else. Shiv Uncle had to return back and catch a train from Ambala. And from Hoshiarpur, he had to catch a bus. And he told me he has a train somewhere around 2 o'clock. It takes a finite time to get there. And I was concerned at some point in time that uncle should not miss his train. He is with his daughter. So we started discussing. But the satsang were continuing and we were not leaving without completing the satsangs. So when I asked uncle, you may be getting late, you may miss the train, and he says, oh no, that's not my problem. That's my guru's problem. It is it is his responsibility to make sure I get my train, but I'm going to do the satsang. And in the whole process, we were sharing, everybody was listening, and when the time passed, we did not know. He was already late for the train when he started off from the venue. I offered him to accompany me to Jalandhar, where I had a room booked already. I was staying there because I had to visit Mandir, and I said, Uncle, we are going to return to Delhi together tomorrow. He said, no, I must return today. Fine. That kind of trust in Guru, something I was noticing for the first time. I would not have delayed myself that long, but he did. He completed his sharing and then left, and I did not meet him after that. I went to Jalandhar Mandir in the evening, saw that divine place, loved every bit of my time spent there, and returned next day. When I met Uncle in Delhi at Bade Mandir, I asked him about his return trip. So he said, oh, I have to share this with you. Go ahead, Uncle. And he told me that on his way back, even though they were already late, the bus had a flat tire and everybody stopped and they took a good about hour plus to change the tire and the bus left. They were behind the train's departure time already by a long time. When they reached railway station, they saw a train going past like this in front of them, and they felt that a train has left and they have missed it. But as soon as they reached the platform, the train stopped just for enough time for them to board the train. When he inquired from the fellow passenger, one of them told him that for no reason this train has been waiting at the outer signal for last 1.5 hours and it has just arrived and it is leaving now. The train will not leave without taking Shivankal and his daughter. It will not leave because Maharaj will not let the train leave. The train, for no excuse and no reason, waited at the outer signal and did not arrive at the platform till Shiv uncle was walking in. And if you trust your gurus so much, faith is blind. So should trust be. But if you trust him, then this is what happens. And that was my first experience of this kind. And I was overwhelmed. And I realized if you leave everything in Guru's hand, then Guru takes care of everything. If you don't, then he doesn't. Just have faith in one. And here I must touch upon yet another experience of my own. My father had a prostate enlargement problem and he had trouble and passing urine and everything else, and doctors had suspected that he perhaps has prostate cancer. He, he was taken for test, and for the first time I told him, please come to my guru. And I never said this to him before because I wasn't sure if he would say yes. Secondly, he should make fun of my guru, and I wouldn't be very happy if he did that. You cannot control your father. He will say and do what he wants to say and do. And so I was worried. But that day, I folded my hands and said, Dad, please come with me to my guru, seek his blessings, and you will be fine. He came, and I took him to Guruji, and Guruji spoke to him, blessed him, and he had langar, and he came back. And after that, he made a few visits. If his reports turned out to be negative, he was operated for the enlargement, and everything was fine. In in Ghaziabad, someone, some guru arrived. I am not aware of who he was, and when the family members wanted him to go there, he just accompanied them. And we visited that guru, and few days later, he had that problem again. And when they spoke to me, I just told them when they had come with me to my Guruji, there was no need to go anywhere else. You should have gone there and not come here. This time, the report was positive. And what, in my view and my belief, what my Guru has stopped in its track and did not allow it to happen by him leaving Guru and going elsewhere, just unblocked that. And my father had to be operated, and he went through certain issues, suffered for a while, recovered a little, and eventually that problem took his life. All I could ask him just once, why? That is why Guru said, just have faith in one. Whosoever you want to, have faith in one. Have belief in that one, and everything will be fine. But choose carefully, because whomsoever you choose to be your Guru, you will go wherever that Guru is going. It's like you have to go to Bombay, then you better catch a train which is heading to Bombay, and that also direct. Uh, I'm not sure if you've heard about a religious book called Gita. It is a conversation between Lord Krishna and his disciple Arjun. And there Krishna is telling Arjun that whomsoever you worship, you get to him. But those who worship me, they come to me. And those who worship multiple gods, they get nowhere. So choose wisely. And that is what the message here was. And once you have chosen, have blind faith. There is no point in choosing somebody and continuously look back whether you made the right decision, or whether you need a second opinion, or whether there was another guru which was important enough for you to go there. People who go here, there, and everywhere are here, there, and everywhere. So that lesson was learned. In my case, a little hard way. But here, as in the first case, the faith Shiv uncle had in his Guru taught me a huge lesson for my life. This Guru will not let that train move, and that was not the only time such a thing happened. I remember now we are talking about it. We had a Sangat from US who had come to see Guruji, and they had a flight to catch in the night. But all they wanted was to have his darshan and go. But Guruji held them back, saying that they must have langar prasad and only then they should leave. Time was running out, and if my memory serves me right, they were accompanied by Prem Singh uncle, and they politely told Maharaj that it is time and they will miss the flight if they do not leave immediately. And Guruji said, no, they will take langar. They have to take blessings because Guru wants them to be blessed. And they were very disturbed because there was a point at which they thought they have missed the flight. But finally, when they left and they reached the airport, the boarding had been announced only at that time. For some inexplicable reason, they did not announce the boarding. Aircraft was not ready. It can never be ready because Guru's devotees are on the way, and you cannot miss your flight once Guru said you won't. And that is faith. Now I continue with my trip to Punjab. On the next invitation that we got, we were not just, I was not alone. We were four of us. Me, Wing Commander Anil Arora uncle, Commander Nagpal, and Pushkar uncle, who was subsequently designated as commander by Guruji. So that made all four of us to be known as commanders, and we decided we're going to go together. And all on subsequent travel to such functions, we traveled together in one car. It used to be a whole day affair because it takes about 8 hours to go, 8 hours to come back, 16 hours, and maybe 1 to 2 hours, 3 hours at the function. 3 hours would be luxury. I would say 2 hours. But 10 o'clock would be a cutoff time. At night, no matter when we reach, 10 o'clock is 10 o'clock. And I used to monitor that bit because being the elder of the group, that was my responsibility. And it worked very well. On the first trip, we first went to Halwara. There's another Sangat of Guruji from the Air Force who were heading that, Chopra uncle who was heading that base as Air Commodore. So we thought we'll pay a visit to them. And then we thought on our way to the function that we should visit Dugri, which was not far away, Guruji's birthplace. But nobody else knew of our change of plan. So I said, let's go to Dugri. Now you didn't go to Dugri without Guruji's express permission first. So we had not taken his permission to visit Dugri. But we decided to travel anyway. And we just folded our hands, closed our eyes and said, Maharaj, we want to visit Dugri. Please permit us to do so. And that was that. We headed to the Dugri, and as we went to that place on the main road, we had one Sangat from Punjab, whom we met for the first time that day, waiting for us. As we stopped, and he inquired about me, and he said, "Commander uncle?" I said, "Yes." Guruji called us and said, "Commander will be coming there, so you receive him or receive them." And then he also told them our entire schedule as to what we will be shown during this day. He introduced himself as Ashwini Sharma. Is a close friend, a very dear friend, and a very devoted Sangat of Guruji Maharaj. And he has his own satsangs, which are incredible. But there he was, received us on the road, and we just couldn't believe that here a thought comes in our mind that we should go to Dugri, and there Guruji calls up his Sangat in the morning, not when the thought comes to our mind, because he had to come from Punjab, from Chandigarh. That takes time. So he knew in the morning that we will be coming there. We came to know only about an hour before. So we went there. The current mandir in Dugri, that building was under construction. We sat there. We met Bapuji, Guruji's father. Learned so much about about uh, the childhood years of Maharaj, and then we saw different places of importance where Maharaj had stopped to do specific prayers and tapasya, uh, meditation, and the place where he was born. We clicked some photographs, and those are very precious treasures that we have with us, because it never felt the same next time around. The first time is always so special. Then we went to Malerkotla. We saw another place, had langar, and headed back to the marriage. So it's just that Maharaj comes to know what you have thought. He actually comes to know what you are going to think subsequently. I'm now pretty sure that a thought in our mind that we should be visiting Dugri was put in by Maharaj. He wanted us to go there because at the same time, other devotees from Sangat who were also on their way to the same function received a phone call from Guruji that nobody is going to go to Dugri. So that day, only four of us went. And when I returned back on Saturday, went to Mandir, bowed to Guruji, and as I stood up, Guruji looked at me and said, "You went to the village," and smiled. And I said, "Jai Guruji." He knew it all along. He let us do that. He made us do that. And we are so blessed. So, and this constant theme that I keep reverting back to is that you're never far away from Guru's mind. He's always thinking about you. He's always looking at ways to do what should be done with your life in a best possible way. On another occasion, we went to Punjab, all four of us, and that day, my other brothers, as I would call them, the younger to me, they decided that day that they are not going to depart from the venue at 10 o'clock in the night. They will hang around there a little longer. So when I went to them, maybe 15 minutes to 10 at night, and I said, uncles, it's time for us to get into the vehicle and go back, because 8 hours from 10 o'clock is going to be something like 6 o'clock in the morning. So we will be 24 hours on road, and therefore we must not delay it any further. But that day, they looked at me and said, no, we are not returning today at 10 o'clock. It is going to be later. Let's enjoy a little more. I was shocked is not the expression I would use here. I couldn't believe that they said no, but couldn't do anything. If they're not going to leave by 10, they're not going to leave by 10. So I came to the vehicle and rested my back against it and closed my eyes, folded my arms in front, and I said, Guruji, we must leave by 10. You know this. And few minutes later, there was an announcement that a message from Delhi, Guruji wants Sangat to return by 10 o'clock. It was for everybody. And now these three brothers of mine quietly wound up and slowly dragged their feet towards the vehicle, because Guru's orders had come, cannot be defied. When I saw them, I will not be able to express my happiness and my sense of victory. I must use that word, because I felt that I won that argument because Guruji Maharaj decided to help me on that. And after that, it was always 10 o'clock. Never ever there was a question. And that brings me to one more small aspect of our visits to Punjab. One of the last invitation that we got from Guruji was in 2007, and I think we got it in April or some such time. But before we could attend that function, Maharaj had left his physical body and taken Mahasamadhi. But this time, when he gave us the invitation, he said, take your aunties with you. So this time we couldn't go alone. And before that, every single time we had just gone alone. And we prepared ourselves. But this time, there was no one to tell us to return by 10 o'clock. In case my brothers decided not to follow the 10 o'clock rule, because Guruji had taken Mahasamadhi. And I was just thinking about it, that today I'm not going to tell them anything. Whatever time they decide is okay with me. Plus, we also had our aunties with us. But this time, Surprise, surprise. The auntie who had invited us there, the host, she announced about 10 minutes before 10 that Sangat from Delhi should return by 10. Can you believe it? That, that the very last function that we attended together, on the invitation given by Maharaj, we still managed to uh, start by 10 o'clock. Can you just believe this? It's just not a question of the big things in our life. It's every small, small detail of your life is controlled by him. If there is a road that you should not be traveling, he will not let you go there. On one occasion, me and Singla uncle had to go to Manesar and beyond for some work. Now, uncle is very, very particular about being on time. Very particular about being on time. And I, being a Fauji, sticking to time is second nature. But he was delayed. And he was delayed by considerable time. And I waited for him. And then we both went. On the way, we had this huge accident. And normally, when that happens, I look the other way because I cannot withstand the sight. And then uncle turns to me and says, Commander, now you know why. Because he couldn't believe that he was late. You won't travel on a road which has not been cleared by Maharaj. While we are talking about it, uh, let me share a few more anecdotes from that time. And one of them is the way Guruji used to ask individual Sangat to leave for home. He would announce by name that so and so leave now, and they would get up and leave. But the instructions were very clear that you should leave this place and never stop on the way and not go to anybody else, not socialize, not drop in for a cup of coffee, not have a tea by the roadside, just go home. Because the blessings that you received from Maharaj must be carried right to your home and deposited there. You don't want to stop by somewhere and spend it on people and things and in a way lose out on the blessings completely. That is the kind of control he exercised on us for our own good. Oh, and then I remember one more little incident. This is related to my daughter's wedding. I did touch upon it, but there are few things which I missed out and recollected just now. One of them is this, that Maharaj had given invitations for Sangat to attend. And one of them was an uncle who would, in Empire State, be responsible for making Sangat sit nicely, properly together and oversee the administration of the way Sangat conduct itself. And Guruji told him, go to this function and take care of people exactly the way you do here. And because the problem that I was facing, I could not come to the venue on time myself, even though it is my daughter's wedding. But when I did reach there, but before that, suddenly around 6 o'clock in the evening, a big storm started. And we couldn't believe because the arrangements were all out in the open. It is going to be storm, followed by rains, and then power cut in India. God, that would be bad. So my my auntie came out in the balcony, looked at the sky, and just said, Guruji, what are you doing? ये क्या करा रहे हो महाराज? Within 5 minutes, the storm stopped. But without me noticing, the Sangat and the uncle who was sent by Guruji coordinated for every arrangement that was out in the open to be taken inside and rearranged in the hall. And they started the dinner. By the time I reached there, people had already had dinner. They were looking for me. The function went well, but not because I did anything to do. I think I did anything properly myself. The function went well because Guruji knew that I'm not capable of taking care of it myself, and therefore Guruji has to intervene and position his Sangat there, his Sevadars there, for it to be coordinated properly. This is who we are, and that is who our Guruji is. Take controls of your life. But he can take only that much control as you would allow by giving up control yourself. I keep referring back to Gita because it's a dialogue between God and his disciple. In a way, it's a dialogue between our Guru and us. And one of the things Lord Krishna tells Arjun is this, that Arjun, you give up everything and come to me. You give up everything and come to me. Then I will absolve you of all your sins and karma. Now, a lot many times people come to Guru, but they miss out the operating clause. The operating clause is give up everything else. You don't really come to Guru without giving up everything else. You cannot have multiple bosses. You just report to one. That's how organization works. And that's exactly what his Sangat does or should do. Because if you give up everything, then he takes control. But if you don't give up everything, then he cannot control. Then your karma will take care of itself. He will not absolve you of your sins and karma. Karma is accompanying you. And we keep saying in a very loose way that, that our karma, this is what it is. But if you have to imagine your karma, it is, if your body is like your soul, then karma is like the clothes you wear. And the quality of the clothes, in a way, identifies you as a person for anybody who looks at you. You wear nice clothes, you look like a nice person. you wear no clothes, you are a saint. But 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 I think you look at karma like clothes which can be worn loosely or tightly. If you wear them very tightly, then they feel like an integral part of your body. And so karma held very tightly to you is like an extended part of your own soul. But if you wear them loosely, they can then you yourself feel your clothes little different to yourself. And the sense of attachment to your clothes isn't very difficult. And whenever you want, you can remove them and put them away. But tightly worn clothes, like with a zip, and it's like those uh, kind of like those slacks that you can wear, or stretchable jeans. They look so much part of your own body and so difficult to push away. So wear your karma like loose clothes. You're wearing them, but you're not really carrying them with you. They are not an extension of your body. And that comes when you stop identifying yourself with what you do as compared to what you feel from inside. Start feeling more, and that happens when your guru starts to reside in your heart. Things that are spoken before. When your guru is inside you, then everything else kind of loosens away. You still do your karma, you still carry your karma, but you're not defined by your karma. You're defined by your guru. And so, this is why the Lord said that you give up everything and then come to me. Then I will absolve you of your karmas completely. How do you give up? Have you wondered? Now, before I share the other satsang, these things come to my mind. You give up by disowning your karma. By disowning means simply saying, I'm not the one who does these things. It's my God who makes me do them. The moment you take away your authority on what you do, you stop doing it. It from you doing it to it happening to you is a very subtle fine line that divides the two. And all that matters is, what do you think? If you think you do, then you do. And then you will be held accountable for it. But if you think you're doing a duty, then you do a duty, and if you do it well, you get reward. But if you think you do nothing, because all that is being done is being controlled by somebody else, then actually you do nothing at all, and you will not be held accountable for what happens through yourself. And I must give you an example here so that at least you know what I think about it. A soldier, when he fights at the border, and the soldier of the other country gets killed, you think that that is a murder? This guy doesn't want anybody to be dead. He's just doing his duty. He's defending his nation. And if in the process people who want to attack the integrity of the nation come in the way and they die, not his problem. Even though the action is same, a bullet gets fired and a person dies. If the soldier is just doing his duty and risking his own life as well, he could be dead in the process. But all he does is defends his nation. In the process, people who want to attack the integrity of his country die. He's not a killer. He's not a murderer. And rightfully so, he is rewarded for that and not punished. So Same action can attract punishment and reward depending on how you associate yourself with that action. Similarly, a doctor who conducts surgery on a patient and in the process patient dies, you cannot accuse doctor of killing that person, can you? He was trying to save his life, but he still cut open the stomach and but couldn't save it. But if the same doctor knew that he is not good enough to treat this patient at this surgery, and still he decided to undertake the surgery with the complete knowledge that he is this patient may not survive because he doesn't know how to do it. Well, in that case, guilt is very much there and he will be held accountable. So the same karma can have different attributes based on what goes on in your mind. And in our case, leave it to Guruji. Because when you leave it to Guruji, then all your karmas are his problem. Good, bad, ugly, who cares? My Guru, he is the boss. And I don't know what he makes me do. Because I do nothing. Whatever I do is because what my Guru makes me do. And why he makes you do? Because you have handed over your controls to Guru. So I'll repeat that sentence again, which Lord Krishna said to Arjun. Arjun, give up everything. Then come to me. It's like if you're hanging by 3, 4 ropes. One of the rope is held by Guru. Then you have not surrendered to Guru. You know there are 4 ropes. If one rope doesn't hold, the second one will. And if the second one doesn't, then the third one will. But when you let go of every other rope and now you are hanging only by the rope held by Guru, then Guru knows that if I let go, then he goes. And that is why that Shabad I did mention earlier, and I will share them with you later. Ek takya bharosa tere charna ka, baki sabe dhaya dheriya. My Guru, my Lord, all I have done now, full faith in your lotus feet, and I have demolished every other support in my life completely. So I have come to you and only you, and I have nobody else. So now the Guru knows that if he did not do anything about this disciple, then nothing will happen to him because I will not do and he will not go elsewhere as an alternative, because in our life there are no alternatives. There are no alternatives to Guru. We go where our Guru takes us, we go where our Guru is at any given time. And that's our destiny. We are like bogies of a train which is tied behind an engine, and wherever the engine takes us, we go. Bogies don't have the luxury to choose where to go. They can choose the engine, but if they get hooked to the wrong engine, then they go to the wrong place. So be careful. Choose wisely, live well. I think today we will end here and we'll continue